it's been interesting. I've been meeting with a number of groups about the Southern Poverty Law Center report, and of course, one of the first things people say is, gee, they usually study the Klan or the neo-Nazi groups. They've been down in the Southwest looking at the Minutemen, who just, as you know, just this year murdered 2 Latinos, including a 9-year-old girl. Why are they in Suffolk County? And usually when someone asks that, somebody else steps forward and says, because that's the most hateful county in New York State. In March, I was up meeting with Governor Patterson on a different immigration-related matter, and I mentioned Marcelo Lucero's murder, and he knew immediately what I was talking about, and he looked at me and he said, I wonder what the family thought to hear from the top executive in the county that this murder was a one-day story. You know, sometimes when we're in Suffolk County, we get a little bit of myopia. You know, we can see up until the Route 110 line. We don't always look beyond it, but this, you know, when we're talking about was the Southern Poverty Law Center, was every story exactly correct? Well, you know what? Similar stories were uncovered by the New York Times. Similar stories were uncovered by Newsday, by WCBS Radio, by National Public Radio when they came here. So if you're still in doubt, if you still believe that there was one hate crime in Suffolk County against Latinos prior to November 8th, 2008, take a look at the indictments that SPOTA put forward. The people who were accused of killing Lucero committed other hate crimes that year. The DA has documented those. Second concern is, at the last meeting of this task force, Francisco Hernandez said that there had been an effort to silence him. He's a hate crime victim. He said that there had been an effort to keep him from speaking here. Now, I don't know if there was or not, but you need to know. You need to determine whether there is an attempt to interfere with your collection of evidence, because if there was, you cannot get valid results with which to issue a report. You know, at the first meeting of this task force, a number of people talked about the rhetoric that spurred the hatred. And to some extent, sometimes we roll our eyes a little bit. It sounds a little bit PC, you know? We know that many Suffolk politicians refer to immigrants, particularly undocumented immigrants, as, quote, illegals, unquote. And some of you may have seen a couple of Latinos who were here at the first meeting wore a t-shirt that said, no human being is illegal. And you might have thought, well, maybe that comes from the National Council of La Raza, which I guess some folks are now comparing to the Ku Klux Klan. It doesn't. It originates with Nobel Peace Prize winner and Holocaust survivor, Elie Wiesel. And I was actually part of a group that met with him that, where he talked about why he came up with that slogan. He said he knew that once you describe someone as illegal, then you set them up as a proper target to be hunted down by thugs. As Wiesel said, you must know that no human being is illegal. That is a contradiction in terms. Humans can be beautiful or more beautiful. They can be fat or skinny. They can be right or wrong, but illegal. How can a human being be illegal? Now, some people would say, well, illegal, it's sort of a shortening of the illegal alien. It refers to people's immigration status, not meant it's a hateful thing. But then why don't we look at another term that's used by many Suffolk politicians, which is the description of children born in the United States with brown skin as anchor babies. There is no legal definition of an anchor baby. That's not a shortening. This does not refer to someone's legal status, because everyone born in the United States, with the exception of the children of diplomats, invading soldiers, and certain Native Americans up until recently, is a United States citizen. This is not based on a statute or custom, as it's often asserted, but it's based on the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, which made non-whites in the United States citizens. The 14th Amendment was passed because some states tried to make U.S. citizenship conditional on your family's legal status. They said, you cannot be a United States citizen if your father was a slave, using the decision Dred Scott. How could the children of slaves ever be United States citizens if this interpretation was allowed to persist? I'll be done in 1 second. So Congress passed and the states ratified the 14th Amendment in 1868 and settled the question. When politicians refer to children born in the United States as anchor babies, they don't just attack immigrants, because these children are not immigrants. They stigmatize all Latinos, because even if a Latino can show a birth certificate saying they were born in this country, there'll always be a suspicion that he's an anchor baby, a second-class citizen, and we have no second class of citizens in our Constitution. This task force must have the courage to speak the truth to power. Right now, we're talking about what makes our young native-born people into hate criminals. We also need to consider how the next generation of young Latinos, seeing their parents spat on by thugs and vilified by politicians, are being molded for the future. Thank you.